Welcome to a special edition of the NFL Prediction Show. As today we're going to give you our NFC Championship preview, how to bet the game. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. My co-host is Joe Spillman. And remember, the grueling truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online sportsbook or casino that is right for you. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. How you doing, Joe? You ready to talk a little NFC Championship game?
Yeah, Mike, I think I am if I don't have too many internet connection issues. Looks like I'm lagging a little bit.
Well, you were told we could do this other ways, and you chose not to. So what the
Uh,
hell are you going to do? All right.
yeah, you know.
I can say this. I think we've got the four best teams left conference championship weekend. I think this game is the biggest toss up between the two, even though the line's 2.5. There's a lot of things here, though, that make this game really difficult to pick. Number one, the Philadelphia Eagles are in the 20s against the run. The 49ers have Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. McCaffrey, because of his calf, Mitchell, because of his groin, missed practice on Tuesday. So you'll have to monitor that. They're probably not 100%, but nobody is right now. I mean, to me, when you look at this, the way to win this game, because I don't trust Brock Purdy in this situation, even though he's played well. But against that Eagles pass rush, I think the best way to win this game for the San Francisco 49ers is to run the ball.
No, I absolutely agree with you, Mike. At the end of the day, you got to remember that Brock Purdy is still a rookie. He's only playing in his eighth game of his career, and that happens to be a NFC Conference Championship game. I think his nerves are going to be there. I think he's when you get to this level, the conference championship game, I think that, everybody brings it just a little bit more. And I think this is going to be a really tall task for Brock Purdy to come out and keep his nerves calm and be able to play this game. I think, we're still waiting for that game where Brock Purdy has, that rookie game. I don't think he played great last week, but I don't think he played bad. And he's eventually going to have that game where it shows that he's a rookie, and we've yet to see that. And I think that this might be the week that we see it.
Yeah, because of the pass rush with the Philadelphia Eagles and their secondary. I mean, the thing that's interesting to me is I think Jennings for the 49ers lined up in the slot at the highest rate for the 49ers of all their receivers all year at 53%. I think what we're going to see here is Kyle Shanahan use Samuel or Brandon Ayuk in the slot more this week to keep them away from the Eagles cornerback tandem of Darius Slay and James Bradbury on the outside. That would kick Jennings out to the outside. And then you could put Samuel in the slot or Ayuk in the slot. I mean, to me, that would be the best way to attack this defense if I do want to throw the ball.
Right. But even then, I think at the end of the day, their best bet is to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible.
But they're going to have to throw the ball at some point. I mean, that's just, you're not going to be able to just run the ball the entire game. I know they did it a couple years ago when they had Jimmy Garoppolo throw the ball like 8 times and blew out the Green Bay Packers. You've got George Kittle there. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles are one of the best teams at covering the tight end, which is going to make him a little less effective. And the one good thing is the 49ers have one of the best offensive lines in football. So do the Eagles. They both have great pass rushes. And to me, what this game comes down to is this. The 49ers, I think, are like the second best team against the rush. So they may be able to eliminate that. The question is, can they stop Jalen Hurts? And by stop him, I mean, you got to keep him in the pocket. You can't let him run. And Jalen Hurts, if he's as good in this game as he has been most of the year, I think the Philadelphia Eagles actually could run away with this game. So I think this whole game comes down to really how good Jalen Hurts is.
No, I 100% agree with you, Mike. And I think if you're looking at this game and you're the 49ers, I think, if you have a game with a combined total score of under 26 points, I think the 49ers look really good to win this game. I think if the score gets over that for a combined score, if the over is over 26, I think the Eagles take this game. The best thing the 49ers could do is keep this a low scoring game where offensive production is the hardest thing to do during the game. So I think I think you're absolutely right. If the Eagles start scoring and this becomes a shootout, I don't think there's any way that the 49ers keep up.
Yeah, because when you look at it, the 49ers are also fairly vulnerable down against downfield pass attempts. They've allowed the fifth highest yards per attempt average on pass attempts of 20 or more yards down the field this season. And Hurts has some sneaky upside, I think, as a passer. And he looked good against the Giants. He didn't look too good a couple weeks before. He missed a couple games. But still, I think we got to believe that he's not going to turn into Dak Prescott in this game. The 49ers have a lot of dual threat running backs. But the guys that have really beaten their defense a little bit would be Dak Prescott, not, I mean, in the regular season, the one game they played. Geno Smith played well against them. Jarrett Stidham played well against the 49ers. The 49ers defense to me is really good, but the secondary worries me. With that being said, I mean, when you look at the over-under here of 46.5, I think that would fall in line with whoever you bet on this game. Because if you're going to bet the Eagles, I would bet the over. If you're betting the 49ers to win the game or to take the 2.5 points, I'm going to bet the under.
Well, I mean, that's probably a good call, Mike. And I think you're absolutely right. If you're looking at the 49ers in this game, you should bet the under because if the 49ers win this game, you're not looking at a high scoring game at all. I would be surprised if we see the 49ers reach 20 points in this game. Having said that, in order for the 49ers to win, obviously, they got to keep the Eagles under 40 points. And like John Madden said, normally a team that scores the most points wins the game.
That's not normally, it's all the time.
Yeah, normally. I'm quoting the great John Madden. Mike.
Go ahead.
Come on. Jeez. But I really think it might be a good call to bet the under on this game all the way around as well. I really don't see the Eagles running away with this game against the defense. I could be absolutely wrong. You might have a different take on that, but I think the 49ers.
Well, I think the Eagles have, I think, the best offensive line in football. So if anybody can deal with that pass rush, it's them. If Jalen Hurts, like I said, if Jalen Hurts played like he did all season, but the only question I have here is A.J. Brown because he's been dealing with a hip injury. He's probably not going to be 100% for this game. The 49ers played zone this season at the fifth highest rate, which isn't ideal for A.J. Brown either because if A.J. Brown's playing in this game, he has a 3.27 yards per route run rate versus man and a 1.93 mark versus zone this season. So I think that I think with the way the 49ers will defend them, I think A.J. Brown right now, the over-under on his receiving yards is 70.5. I would almost go under. I think that Devontae Smith is the guy that can exploit the zone more than A.J. Brown.
I can't disagree with you. My big question is Jalen Hurts going to be able to flush out? And how many yards is he going to get with his feet this week? Because I think that's the biggest key to the Eagles' success is how well or how many yards Jalen Hurts puts up by himself.
Well, see, the problem is I think you could take Jalen Hurts' ability to run away. You could, but you can't take away everything. What are you going to give them? Because you can go soft cover 2. All right. You protect yourself a little bit on the back end a little bit more. If you blitz him, he's going to take off running. I mean, you almost have to spy him in a cover 2 zone. Spy him in a cover 2 zone is going to make it much more difficult to be able to stop the run. Now, the 49ers have a great defensive front, but can they stop the run consistently, especially when you get into the second half of this game?
And I don't know that they can. And I don't know that, I'm trying to think of the 49ers season. When's the last time that they've played a team that had a comparable, running game and an offensive line like the Eagles have?
There aren't many teams that have a comparable running game and offensive line the way the Eagles have.
Well, I guess that's true as well. Now, do you put any stock into what I said at the opening of the show that eventually Brock Purdy is going to have that rookie game where he just stinks it up and is booed out of the stadium? Because I think that game's coming.
Well, even if he wins, he's going to be booed out of the stadium because we're playing in Philadelphia. But
Jesus, Mike, you know what I mean?
I think that Kyle Shanahan, I think we saw the way he coached the last game, that he saw that Purdy was going to have one of those games. And I think you saw him protect him by the way he called the plays. The difference here is this. They won that game because Dak Prescott made two huge mistakes.
Right.
And that was the difference in the game. The question is, will Jalen Hurts make those mistakes? So if Brock Purdy doesn't turn the ball over, will Jalen Hurts? Because that's what this is going to – I mean, the games always come down to that. It's not a genius comment. It's almost like saying whoever scores the most points. Hell, 85, 90% of the time, the team that makes the most turnovers loses the game. I think you're going to have issues with Fred Warner because I think he can eliminate Dallas Goedert, who's had a really good season, and he had free reign against the Giants defense that ranks 31 in DVOA against tight ends. He's not playing that now because the Eagles could defend the tight end, and I think you're going to lose Goddard there for Hurts. So, I mean, that's why I think this game is so tight, because when I look at this, a lot of it just depends on who's worse here, not who's better, because I think we both have questions about the quarterback. Just because Jalen Hurts last year in the playoffs was horrible, but he's improved a lot this year. Are we going to see that in the clutch in an NFC Championship game? If we do, they win. With Brock Purdy, how many times we've ever seen Brock Purdy just ball out, throw the ball all over the place and be successful? He's protected. And that's all right because he's a rookie. He's Mr. Irrelevant. He's the last guy picked in the draft. He's not a Joe Burrow or a Justin Herbert where you just throw him out there and start slinging the ball. So they're going to protect him. My worry is that Eagles defense is so good that if you're going to protect him, they're going to load the box up. They're not going to allow you to run the ball. And then Brock Purdy's got to make plays through the air. And with the cornerbacks that they have, they can take away your outside receivers. They can take away George Kittle. I mean, they're good against tight ends. So when I look at this game, I really think I would bet the Eagles, or I'd bet the Eagles. I'd give the 2.5 points. And if I was going to bet over or under, I would probably bet the under. But when I look at this, I just think that there are a lot more ways the Philadelphia Eagles can win this game than there is that the San Francisco 49ers can.
No, I agree, Mike. I can't really dispute what you're saying. I agree with the under as well. I think I know personally I'm going to be betting the under on this game, and I'm going to take the 49ers and take the 2.5 in this game. I think 2.5. Whenever you see that 1.5, 2.5 line on a game, to me that becomes a pick'em game at that point.
So you're picking the 49ers?
Yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers in this game.
Okay, even though you just agreed with me.
I agree with you. Well, when you're, I think the smart bet, since we're doing a betting show, Mike, I think the smart bet is to take the Eagles and give up the 2.5. I really do agree with that. I'll be placing a bet this weekend pretty much when you come down to the NFC and AFC championship games. I'm going to place bets on who I want to win. So I just put that out there, but you're absolutely right. The smart bet in this game, if I was going to advise somebody to bet, I would say take the Eagles, give up the 2.5, and then also bet the under, because I don't think this game gets much over 40 points. At the end of the day, anything can happen in these games, but I just don't see how if this is a competitive game, which I think it will be. I do think it'll be a competitive game, how we get the 46 points. Because in order, like I said, I keep harping on this, but in order for this game to be competitive and for the 49ers to be in this game, I think it has to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, because if the game's a blowout, the Eagles are probably the team winning the game.
Right.
In a close game, it could go either way. Both teams have very good kickers, but I'll also give you this. If it is a close game, Robbie Gould has a history of not missing in the playoffs. Jake Elliott's really good also, but he doesn't have the history of Robbie Gould, and he's never had the amount of kicks with the game on the line that Gould has. So I think that's huge also. When you look at the coaching staffs, I think the 49ers are better. Shanahan, if he gets a big lead in this game, will probably lose it, by the way, because that's what he does. But I really like D'Amico Ryans at defensive coordinator. I would hate to see him take the Texans job. It sounds like he might, because then he's probably going to be like 2 and done because that organization's a mess. So coaching-wise, I like the Niners just by a little bit. But I think offensively, I think the Eagles can do more things. They are more explosive. And I think defensively, the only weakness on either defense to me are the cornerbacks for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, and really, I don't know that would I maybe in the NFC Championship you would call that a weakness. I mean, I think that they've showed that they can play all year. It's kind of like
Remember
but
this against the Kansas City Chiefs, who throw the ball a lot, they gave up 44 points.
okay.
I
Touche.
mean, they gave up 34 points to Jarrett Stidham and the Raiders. So that really worries me here because I'm pretty sure Jalen Hurts can be at least as good as Jarrett Stidham. Dak Prescott can't, but
Yeah,
Jarrett Stidham.
I agree. I can't argue with you.
All right. Well, I think we're done. If you're going to bet the games, I would go to Betfred. Betfred's the place to go. It's our top recommended sports book for this. And also, if you want to find the best place to bet for you, if you want to find out, well, can I bet on Betfred if I live in Ohio? Little heads up, you can. But if you live in Kansas and you want to know what sites can I bet on, betting.net offers expert user reviews for every online sportsbook casino. And if you live like Joe in Indiana and you go on betting.net, it will give you every site in Indiana with ratings that you can bet on the games at. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. Make sure you check out our top sports book for the NFC Championship game, which is Betfred. And don't forget, if you like social casinos, slots, table games, sign up with stake.us and use our exclusive promo code TGT Social to secure your unique 5% rake back bonus. All right. Any final words of wisdom, Joe?
No, I'm excited for this weekend.
Well, it's good to see that you have your New York Jets CJ Uzama jersey
on. Oh, geez. Be quiet. You know what? I already told you my other two jerseys are packed away. This is the one that I had hanging up in my closet. And whatever. CJ ran with the money. He chased the money. He ended up in New York. He's watching the game with me this weekend. Well, not with me, but just like me. So, I can't hate on CJ. I like CJ. He was a good tight end for us. I think we definitely upgraded in Cincinnati with Hayden Hurst, but I'm not going to hate on CJ, and I'll still proudly wear his jersey.
All right, guys, make sure you go follow us at Grilling Truth on Twitter. Like, subscribe to us on YouTube. Also, look out for our video on the AFC Championship game between the Chiefs and the Bengals. But for now, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. For Joe Spillman, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grilling Truth